What is up, everybody? It is Rust Belt Perspective here. Today is April 12th, 2023, and I'm going to be giving you my second round of 2024 Senate predictions. So, coming into it, much like 2018, this map is going to be very unfavorable for the Democrats. They are defending 23 seats, including the 3 that have independents that are on their side, while the Republicans are only defending 11 seats. And the majority of those 11 seats are the Republicans considered safe. Utah and Wyoming vote Republican big time every time. Same can be said about Nebraska, North Dakota, Missouri, Tennessee, Mississippi, Indiana. So right off the bat, they're at 47. And even better yet for the Republicans, North Dakota, Indiana, and Missouri were 3 states that had Democratic incumbents coming into the 2018 elections. That is no more. The Republicans can safely rely on these states, which means they could put their resources towards other states in 2024 on the Senate level. And additionally, Texas and Florida, the other 2 states that they are defending, I will consider likely holds for them. They are states that voted for Republican Donald Trump in both 2016 and 2020, even though they weren't by dominant margins either time. But you know, the Republicans had strong 2022 midterms in both of these states, with Governors Greg Abbott and Ron DeSantis both winning big, including Senator Marco Rubio from Florida. No matter how hard the Democrats have tried in these 2 states, they are kind of a mess in both of these 2 states, and neither of them really have a strong Democratic challenger for Republican Ted Cruz or Republican Rick Scott in Texas and Florida, respectively. So, right off the bat, I believe the Republicans will hold on to all 49 of their seats, 11 up for re-election in 2024. And now, before we get into the 23 states that the Democrats are defending, let's take a look at Democratic President Joe Biden's approval rating. As of April 11th, he is disapproved of by 9.7 points. And look at the generic ballot. Some of these polls coming out last month in March. The Republicans do win all of them. Granted, 3 of them are Republican funded, and the Republicans aren't winning by dominant margins or anything. But as of now, the Democrats are the less favored party. So that's one to think about as we talk about some of the more competitive races in this cycle. But the Democrats, though, of course, they will always have their safe states. In the West, you got Washington, California, and Hawaii. And then the North, Independents, Bernie Sanders of Vermont, and Angus King of Maine, both running for re-election, I believe. And both very popular. They side with the Democrats. There's no reason to believe that either of them are in any trouble whatsoever of losing re-election. And that kind of goes for the rest of the New England territory as well. And down in New Jersey, Delaware, and Maryland, also safe Democratic states. No reason they are in any trouble there. New York, very much a Democratic state. And then in Minnesota and New Mexico, popular Democratic senators Amy Klobuchar and Martin Heinrich not in any danger of losing re-election, despite that the states do kind of become lighter shades of blue sometimes in competitive years. But with the popular incumbencies they have, the Democrats have in these 2 states, those should be locks for them as well. So there are 11 seats that are competitive to some level. But the Republicans are already off to a big lead. But the Democrats do hold incumbents in all these states, so the Republicans are going to have to fight to win all of these. So I'll start out in the state of Virginia as we get into the likely states. The one poll I have between Tim Kaine and Republican Governor Glenn Youngkin, who is popular in the state of Virginia, it's only a 2-point margin. Granted, that's one poll, and it was in September of last year. So it's an outdated poll, but clearly you see, at the very least, a race between Tim Kaine and Glenn Youngkin should be competitive should Youngkin run. And that being said, though, on a federal level, Virginia did vote for President Biden by 10 points in 2020, and Tim Kaine is also very popular, so chances are Tim Kaine should win, but at the very least, it's a competitive race. So that's why I'm going to consider it a likely Democratic state for the Senate map. And then a likely Republican state, I'm going to say, is West Virginia. Joe Manchin, he does a great job in polls against Republicans such as Patrick Morrisey or Alex Mooney, but against Republican Governor Jim Justice of West Virginia, Joe Manchin does not do well despite Manchin's own popularity. And when you also take into consideration how Manchin's only winning by 3 points in 2018 when he was winning by a lot more before that, is another alarming factor. And when you also think about how this will coincide with the presidential election, where the Republican is looking to win big, whoever that Republican presidential candidate might be, and how partisanship is growing in this country, there's a lot working against Senator Manchin. So as of now, I'm going to consider West Virginia a likely Republican state. And now there's one more likely state I'm going to consider, and it might be kind of controversial, but I'm going to look at the state of Nevada here. Jackie Rosen, the Democratic incumbent, she is running for a second term, and the Democrats are behind her. Nobody is challenging her for that. She is popular in Nevada. She won by 5 points against Republican incumbent Dean Heller in 2018, and no Democrat in recent memory has won in that state by that much. Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden did not win by that much in Nevada. Catherine Cortez Masto, either time she has run, did not win by that much. Steve Sisolak lost in 2022, the Democrat. Jackie Rosen seems to be more popular than any other Democrat in West Virginia, and I think she can carry that to a dominant margin in 2024. Besides, the Republicans don't really seem to have a strong candidate to take on Senator Rosen. Of those that have publicly expressed interest, none of them have ever been elected to a political office before. You have Nevada's only Republican U.S. representative not running here for the Senate. Adam Laxalt, another statewide no-name. Yes, he lost in 2022, but statewide no-name that will not be running for the Republicans in 2024. And you look at a lot of the potential candidates. I believe only one of them here, and Heidi Ganser, I hope I said that right, is a currently elected official. So it's not looking great for the Republicans in Nevada in 2024. I made a video about that that goes more into detail. Feel free to check that out. But for now, I'm considering Nevada a likely Democratic state. Oh, and also, I forgot, there are a couple more likely Democratic states. Wisconsin, Tammy Baldwin, a very popular Democrat, not only in Wisconsin but nationwide. She has a lot of recognition for being the first ever openly gay United States Senator. She won in 2018 despite the fact that, she won by 10 points in 2018 despite the fact that the other Senate seat has gone Republican for Ron Johnson each of the last 3 times it has been up, despite the fact that Donald Trump won in 2016 in here and lost by less than a point in 2020. Tammy Baldwin has a firm grip on Wisconsin, similar to how Bob Casey has a firm grip in Pennsylvania. The other Senate seat in Pennsylvania has been very competitive. Flop. Pat Toomey won it in both 2010 and 2016 before it flopped to Fetterman by under 5 in 2022. And at the presidential level, it has been very close the last 2 times, but that does not matter. Bob Casey has won by double digits every single time, and he should have no problem being re-elected to a 4th term as he maintains his popularity in Pennsylvania. So now, we'll get into the 4 lean states, the most competitive states of the cycle. I have made videos on all 4 of them. Feel free to check them out if you've not already. I've also made videos on Nevada and West Virginia as far as the Senate goes. Feel free to check those out as well. But we'll start out with the state of Michigan. It's a wide open race as incumbent Debbie Stabenow has announced that she is not running for re-election. So there's a huge pool of Democratic candidates and a huge pool of Republican candidates. The Democrats have had one declaration in Alyssa Slotkin, a U.S. representative, and she has begun to receive some endorsements. The Republicans, they have a wide pool of candidates, but they don't have one dominant candidate who has received an endorsement or anyone has gotten behind yet. But you think about it, Michigan has not elected a Republican United States Senator since, I believe, like the 1990s. So it's been quite a while for Republicans for them to have success in this state. And Donald Trump very narrowly won it in 2016, and any other time since 1992 on the presidential level, it has gone blue. So more times than not, the state does go blue on the federal level, though it has been competitive recently. The Republicans can win it here if they put up the right candidate and the national mood is in their favor substantially. But as of now, there's not enough for me to believe that the Republicans will be able to flip this state. And then the state of Arizona, last time I predicted I had this going to the Republicans based on the logic that the Democrats might face some division between Democrat Ruben Gallego, who's already declared, and independent Kristen Sinema, who might run. But after seeing some polls, I have shifted my focus here. Gallego's the Democrat in every single one of these polls you see here for Arizona, and he wins almost every single one of them. But my argument again for Sinema splitting the votes against Gallego doesn't hold weight, because, for example, you see here Gallego versus Blake Masters here. When it's one-on-one, Gallego wins by 11. Look in the same poll. When you have Gallego, Masters, and Sinema in there, Sinema takes 22% of the vote. She takes 8% from Masters and 10% from Gallego. So clearly, Sinema appeals to the moderates of both parties. So she would kind of equally hurt both parties. So at that point, you're kind of just still looking at a 1-on-1 between Ruben Gallego and whatever Republican. And the Republicans' best challenger for Gallego was former Governor Doug Ducey, but he has announced he is not going to run. So the Republicans don't seem to have a strong candidate to take down Democrat Gallego. So I will consider Arizona a lean Democratic state, flipping that for my previous prediction. Then in the state of Montana, I will consider that a lean Democratic state as well. Jon Tester has been a force in the deep red state. It has been red all throughout recent memory on the federal level, but Jon Tester has won in 2006, won in 2012, won in 2018, despite how any other race has gone blue, pretty much. His best possible challenger was Republican governor of the state, Greg Gianforte, but he has declined to run, so that really makes it difficult for the Republicans here on the Senate level. It's a state that the Republicans will be attacking big time, but right now it's looking like his best possible challenger is Representative Republican Matt Rosendale, that lost to Tester in the same seat in 2018. So right now, Jon Tester maintains his popularity as he runs for a fourth term, and the Republicans don't seem to have a strong answer for him at the moment. And then we get into the tipping point state of Ohio. When you look at the presidential levels here, Donald Trump and even Ron DeSantis, they both crush Joe Biden in any poll you look at here. But then on the Senate level, of course, the Democrats have incumbent Sherrod Brown, who is unpopular. He is running for a fourth term. He's a popular Democrat in a red-leading state, kind of the story of this map. But the Republicans, unlike Arizona and Nevada and Montana, they do seem to have a decent pool of candidates to challenge Sherrod Brown here. They have elected officials. Frank LaRose, their Secretary of State, is a popular one, from my understanding. They have Warren Davidson, a U.S. representative. They have even a state senator who is already declared. There are several popular, I shouldn't say popular, but viable Republican candidates to take on Sherrod Brown. So I'm considering this a lean Republican state right now, because the state also does vote close to the presidential ballot. Just look back to 2012 when it was nearly identical with Obama and Brown's vote share, and even in 2016 when former Republican Senator Rob Portman won big, and the same ballot that Donald Trump won big in Ohio. So there's a lot working against Democrat Sherrod Brown right now, so I'm going to say that the Republicans are favored in Ohio as of now. So I have the Republicans coming out on top 51-49. It may not be as much as they might hope, because they're leaving seats on the table in Arizona, Montana, Michigan, and even to a lesser extent Nevada, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. So yeah, comment down below. What do you guys think? How accurate do you think my predictions are? What would you change about them? Please subscribe if you have not already. Feel free to join my Discord server. This is Rust Belt Perspective, signing out.